Even though it was all digital, usually it's in person in Economowoc, Wisconsin, it was great. One of the things that we talked about during this time was the role of the congregation in worship settings. Once upon a time, as many of you may remember, in the Reform movement especially, the prayers looked passively on, expecting the leaders, the clergy, to lead them, to transform them. We know that congregational settings have changed, and one of those changes is the role of the congregation. We are all meant to be in this together. All of our prayers matter. All of us are seen. We all matter. And when we participate together, something magical happens. So join your voice with me, however you're comfortable, and know that we are all, in the words of Cantor Ellen Dreskin, master teacher, perfectly imperfect. Your words are in your handout.
Why are we as a people Israel still here? Beyond theological conjecture, I would say that after spending thousands of years arguing about the meaning of the text, trying to figure it out, we're still doing it. The secret to our survival is sacred argumentation. As this week's Torah portion points out, and the current political landscape affirms, it's not always easy to do. Korach, the namesake of the portion, is the Levite rebel the rabbis hold up as the anti-role model when it comes to Jewish arguing. Mishnah Avot says, any argument that's for the sake of heaven is destined to endure, but a controversy that is not for the sake of heaven will not endure. What dispute is for the sake of heaven? The controversy between Hillel and Shammai. Which is not for the sake of heaven? The controversy of Korach and his followers. Korach's claim seems perfectly valid. Everyone's holy. Why do you, Moses, hold yourself as holier than thou? What's the problem? It's simply not so. Korach's claim is based on a lie. Attractive as it is at first, it evaporates in the light of day, which is why we are compelled to argue like Hillel, passionately disagreeing with the other, in his case Shammai, but humble-hearted enough to cite the opposing view even before his own. Arguing Jewishly means hearing the other, even appreciating another's divergent perspective with which we might disagree, recognizing that truth emerges not by winning, but from the exchange itself. For when the dialogue celebrates difference, it may well be for heaven's sake. We begin with light, and we call on the Huttons to come on up to kindle Shabbat light.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu le'adlik ner shel And to that light, we add a little bit of sweetness. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron le'maseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila le'mikra'e kodesh, zecher letziat mitzrayim, kivanu v'acharta, v'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'anim, v'shabbat kodshecha, be'ahava u'v'ratzon, hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. Chaim. So as we welcome in Shabbat with Kabbalat Shabbat, Psalms of Praise, which get us in the spirit. So as we sing together and warm up our voices as the music fills you, ask yourself, how do you want to feel when you leave this sanctuary, when you walk out of here ready to celebrate Shabbat? And how might you make that happen? Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Naria, naria, litzuri shenu, nekadma fana b'toda. Naria, naria, litzuri shenu, izmirot naria lo. Lechun neranena, lechun neranena, lechun neranena l'Adonai. Lechun neranena, lechun neranena, חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני, שירו שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בזכו מיום ליום ישועתו, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בזכו מיום ליום ישועתו, שירו לאדוני, שירו שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני, שירו שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בזכו מיום ליום ישועתו, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בזכו מיום ליום ישועתו, ילאי ללאי, ילאי ללאי, ילאי ללאי, ילאי ללאי, ילאי ללאי, ילאי ללאי, ילאי pinnacle of our service, L'Chadodi, welcoming the Shabbat bride. When we get to the last verse, I invite you to stand, turn towards those open doors. You can still see the daylight outside as the sun is going to come down soon, and we welcome in Shabbat. Ya la 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 L'Chadodi, ya la 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 Likrot Kala, ya la 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 Pnei Shabbat, Pnei Shabbat Nekabela, ya la 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 L'Chadodi, ya la 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 Likrot Kala, ya la 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 Pnei Shabbat, Pnei Shabbat Nekabela, Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, hishmi'anu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, l'shemu tiferet ve'litilah. Shabbat, Pnei Shabbat Nekabela, Likrat Shabbat, Lechu v'nechad, Ki mekor habracha, Merosh mikerem Nesucha, Sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila, Yai lai lai, ya la 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 Likrat kala, ya la 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 Likrat kala, ya la 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 Pnei Shabbat, Pnei Shabbat Nekabela, Hitoreri, Hitoreri, Kiva orech, Kumi
So you don't sit down too quick. The schmoozing of L'chadodi and the post-helloing and greeting is always good. But just to set the prayer moment, what is the call to prayer really about? In the words of Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, not mine. The essence of living lies in being challenged, being called. We pray for wisdom, how to respond to our being challenged. Just to be is a blessing, to live is holy, and yet simply being alive is no answer to the problems of living. To be or not to be is not the question, Rabbi Heschel says. The vital question is how to be and how not to be. That is what our prayer is calling us to try to answer. Our Baruch Hu.
Blessed is the blessed one, blessed in the river of blessing, blessed in this moment now and every now to come. Blessed is the blessed one, blessed is the giver of blessing, blessed in this moment now and every now to come. Come all of you, come all of us, and bless the one who blesses. Come, come all of you, come all of us, and bless the one who blesses. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Come all of you, come all of us, and bless the one who blesses. Come all of you, come all of us, and bless the one who blesses.
In the middle of the page, if you have it, join me. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam V'yavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha
V'shinantam levanecha, v'dibarta b'ham,
v'shitecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha b'derech uv'shokbecha uv'kumecha uv'shartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu l'totafot b'einecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uv'isharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Emet. How do we make our way from the Shema Ve'ahavta, our pledge, maybe our ketubah with the Holy One, to the shores of freedom, the Michamocha, the Geula, the prayer in the middle? That doesn't happen to be here in Hebrew, but I have to know the first word, which is Emet. The Sfas Emes teaches that is the key. It's the first letter, the middle letter, and the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Aleph, Mem, Tav. And so we must begin every day in pursuit of truth, fill our days, our noon times and afternoons with integrity and authenticity, and end the day knowing we have lived trying to be true to ourselves and others. When we do that, we begin to see the shores of justice and freedom appearing in the distance.
Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught. Before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it's eternally Egypt. That there's a better place, a promised land, and that winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness. That there's no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together, singing yai la la la, yai yai rai rai, yai la 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 la, ya la 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 la, yai la 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 la. Moshe u'Miriam u'bnei Yisrael
Our teacher and friend, Cantor Ellen Dreskin, understands what this about to be sort of silent tefillah moment, a personal prayer moment, means. She says prayer is supposed to challenge you, not make you feel better. As the quote says, prayer comforts the afflicted and afflicts the comfortable. Prayer, says Cantor Dreskin, is all about changing yourself in order to change the world. We rise to the aspiration that we can yet become the change we seek if we hear our prayer through the Holy One speaking to us. We rise.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל
Margaret Torrey's words frame our highest hope. Healing is both an exercise and an understanding, and yet not of the will nor of the intention. It's a wisdom, a deeper knowledge of the daily swing of life and death in all creation. There is defeat to overcome and acceptance of living to be established, and always, always at the heart, there must be hope. Healing is our hope for all the brokenness of body and spirit in our world, in our lives, in our families, in ourselves. And so we rise as one congregation. If you can, join hands or connect to the people around you. If not, I'm connected to you. Please know it. May the one who blessed our mothers and fathers before us bring strength to those who struggle against sickness, all those who so long to be healed. We especially call to mind at this moment of prayer for healing Harriet Lipton, Hannah Stampleman, Enid Elton, Louise Elton, Bonnie Davis, Lori Weinberg, David Goldstein, Stanley Tereski, Bob Glassman, Marty Feldner, Andy Rosenthal, Patricia Zapata, Avraham Yochanan Dov Lesser, Louis Siegel, Nate Moskowitz, Ari Fox, Keith Schoen, Barbara Peabody, June Foreman, Paul Wiggins, Jody Kahn, Joseph Spinelli, Lawrence Cohen, Susie Wolfson, Antonia Nelita Chipola, Harriet Katz, Pat Ryan, Sam Phillip, Jerry Gallner, Ian Spear, Norton Blumberg, Terry Rossman, Julie Ross, Deb Margolin, Paul Stampleman, Scott Siegel, Greg Kellner, Daniel Foley, and George Siminoff. Will anyone here add a name in hopes of healing?
We join our voices together.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
Amen. This week's Torah, as you know, is the challenge of Jewish family in a nutshell. Korach, Moses' first cousin, thinking he got shortchanged when Aaron, his cousin, was named Kohen Gadol. Yes, as I learned from watching Dobie Gillis, Kohen, the big kahuna, the same word. Decides to publicly denounce his cousin, Korach does, calling him on the carpet for being so high and mighty. The only problem, of course, we know is Korach's smear campaign is based on a lie. God just said Moses was the humblest person on the face of the earth. It's bad to pick out your cousin who's the model of humility. Thus ensues a family rivalry, a power grab that does not end well. But even beyond the obvious life lesson on the use and abuse of speech, the overarching message about mishpacha is too important to miss. Our teacher, Rabbi Larry Kirshner, says it this way: home is where they have to let you in simply because you're you, and family are the people who live there. They are the ones whom you get whether you like them or not. In the last tally, however, they may be all any of us have. Kushner applies aptly, I think, this parallel, this metaphor, I should say, to congregational life. The power of congregational life, he says, comes from this same involuntariness of association. We look around the room and realize these people may not be friends. We don't agree with them about much. They're the people we are stuck with. The Talmudic teaching, Kol Yisrael Arevim Ze Bazeh, all Israel are responsible for one another, Kushner translates, we are all stuck with each other. This generates a love that is often more intense and more complicated than the voluntary kind of love. But what happens when two find each other and decide to affirm their love through the life commitment that will connect them under the canopy, the sacred chuppah? Is that voluntary love really less complicated, less concentrated, less intense? I think not. Kol Yisrael Arevim Ze Bazeh, the secondary meaning of the verb is telling, maybe meant for this moment. In modern Hebrew, when you put all the ingredients in the bowl to mix a cake and get the batter really perfect for baking, the very same verb, marvivim, is used. The secret to sacred success with a couple may just be in recognizing who's adding what to the mix. Complementary ingredients, of course, that blend well enough to still let you taste the individual strength and bake into a delicious, beautiful, nourishing cake. What a gift to celebrate this moment, to be able to call up one of our very special LT kids who's not a kid anymore, grown up, Maddie Block, with her wonderful fiance that she found and found her, Rabbi Ayal Chen Robkin. Come on up. I'll even put my mask back on for you. I'm going to open the ark a little. You can stand if you want. It's a nice thing. It's in honor of the Ufruf and upcoming nuptials. V'yishaberach avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov. V'yimotenu Sarav Karachev Leah. May the one who blessed our mothers and fathers before us bring abundant blessing to Maddie and Ayal, who will stand under their chuppah in a matter of weeks this summer. As you're coming together in these pandemic times just about a year ago, defied the odds, requiring you to truly get to know one another by talking and talking and talking and listening, attracted first by the insights you each brought to light, your second online date and extended discussion on the existence of God, so may your ongoing dialogue, even of the commonplace, reflect the glow of God's presence shining between you. As your meeting and connecting made it clear that the two of you were so well aligned, perfectly cynical enough, certainly smart enough, funny enough, kind and caring enough to put you on the same life page. Mostly, I'd say the same paragraph. So may your couplehood lead to the kind of shared growth and discovery that makes every day an adventure, helping you become a wonderful team while enabling you each to be your very best self. And as your mixed marriage of union, yes, has brought together a Jew who grew up at Larchmont Temple, pretty reformish, and a sort of postmodern yet traditionally trained rabbi. So may your union be a beautiful mixing of the mind, heart, and spirit, a recipe for relationship that compels you to bring those covenantal ingredients to the mix every day. Mutual respect and unceasing care, the open communication and unwavering trust that keeps you growing ever closer, thus creating a batter of blessing, bountiful enough to feed a family of little ones, and keep the two of you, Maddie and Ayal, feeding one another for years upon decades upon generations with the rich, delicious, sustaining sweetness of your love. Amen.
Simmen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov. Simmen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov. Simmen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov.
Mazel! In the old days, we'd have candy, it'd just be here underneath, and they've taken out every speck of food or anything you could eat from the sanctuary, so I owe you a very light and gentle candy throw for sweetness.
So last January, February, almost a year and a half ago, our adult choir, one of 4 choirs, began working on a beautiful and challenging piece of music written by our own beloved Frank Grant and Jonathan Feynman over there on the piano. And we were working on it, and as I said, it was beautiful and challenging, and then the world shut down. So we found a way, dedicated members of Shirami, to continue working, rehearsing together on Zoom. I don't know if you know this, but when you're on Zoom, you cannot sing together. And so we were learning our parts, everybody muted as they're learning their part. It was quite a ride. But we are so excited that we are able to finally present this piece of music. But I do want to, and if you're sitting on this side of the congregation and you can't see the screen, I invite you to move over. But we want to invite Frank Grant to chat with us. Hey, Frank, a little bit about this beautiful song whose words still ring very true today.
Hello, I'm Frank Grant. I've been a Temple member for a long time and a songwriter for a long time.
I think he's muted. Let's see.
I heard Jonathan Feynman's music at the Temple. I thought it was wonderful, and I asked Jonathan if he'd like to write a song with me, and he said, fortunately, he said he would love to. So that was the beginning of Someone to Believe In. It's a song that we wrote based on the concept that connection between people and trust, that all leads to believing in someone, and that's what life is all about. The first line of the song, which is, "We are all one family, but we are more than you and me," that kind of says it all. There are a number of key phrases throughout the song that you will hear, and I'll mention some of them. But the song's really about trust and about belief in someone. My first thought was that the song would be about God.
South Carolina. Like I said, he's in South Carolina. I have no idea where he is. I don't know.
My first thought was that the song would be about God. That's someone to believe in, a holy one, a higher being, of course. And I wrote the original lyric that did that. And then Jonathan and I talked about it, and we felt it might be better, rather than being very ethereal about mentioning God, let's bring it down to our own real world and make the song much more about reality. Close family members, friends, who will be there to help you? And who will you help? So we really talked about, and the song then became the real versus the metaphor. You are my brother, you are my sister, and you are my friend are kind of a chorus of the song. And not only do we sing, you are my brother, my sister, and my friend, but then we do it also so that Larchmont Temple can own a piece of this. We do it in Hebrew. We say, you are my brother, ata achi, you are my sister, ata choti, you are my friend, ata chaver. And that gives a feeling of Jewish tenet, of Jewish ethics, caring about others. For example, tzedakah or food donation, or just caring about and helping other people. So the song that we've created, which is Someone to Believe in, talks about nothing, because there's nothing more important than that. There's a line that says, I'm there for you, you're there for me. So when you think you've lost your way, you're not alone. Just say, you are my brother, you are my sister, etc. That was basically what the lyric was all about. However, when I gave it to Jonathan, and Jonathan then wrote the music for it, and I heard this beautiful, unusual, and soaring melody, I said, it doesn't sound like a regular Jewish song that I've heard in temple. There's something about it that is so uplifting and very different. And then I realized that these unexpected twists and turns that the music was taking is really what happens in life. Life itself has all these twists and turns. I was just asked to repeat the first half. I don't know how much people heard. Could somebody please help me with the...
No, don't do that, Frank. Don't do that.
Don't do it. All right, I'll be very brief and explain that the name of the song is Someone to Believe in. And we decided, rather than talking about God specifically, we would talk about more metaphorically God, but talk about you can believe in your brother, you can believe in your sister, you can believe in your friend. And we echoed that simple message by using the Hebrew ata achi, ata choti, and ata chaver. I have someone to believe in. And then the song says, so when you think you've lost your way, you're not alone. Just say these words, you are my brother, my sister, my friend, etc., because that's really what life is all about. So I have someone to believe in. And Jonathan's music was wonderful, unusual and soaring. And I hope I didn't repeat too much, but thank you, Tracy, so much for having Shirami do it in advance. Shirami, thank you so much for your singing. And Jeffrey, thank you. Jonathan, double thanks for everything. You did a wonderful job. Thank you all.
All right. Thanks, Frank. Just wanted to add a few things. Again, gratitude for sure. Cantor Schur for allowing us to do this. Frank had actually been asking me for a couple of years now. I would see him at the pre-Onegs every Friday night, and he'd say, Jonathan, we really should collaborate. We should do something, and I write lyrics. So finally, I said, yeah, sure, send me what you got. And he came up with this lyric, and we worked on it. And initially, it was going to be a solo piece for the cantor to sing, possibly with the choir backing her up. And then it sort of morphed into the version that you hear today. And when I was writing it, I definitely had our group in mind, Shirami, which is a volunteer adult choir that meets every Tuesday night. And most of them are very musical. Some of them are musically trained. Some of them are not. And I wanted to come up with something that was sort of, a little challenging for those of them that are more of an amateur musical background, and also that would give the more seasoned musicians something to sink their teeth into. One of the things, just to be a little technical about an idea I had, and it also has to do with what Frank was saying about morphing and life turning the corner and that sort of thing, is a simple idea that any single note can belong to a variety of different harmonies. So there are places in the song where one of the parts will be holding onto a note and you'll be in one chord, and then the harmony will shift, and then that will allow them to move on into a different key without them worrying too much about where their next note is. So that is a way that I tried to make it somewhat accessible to the choir. And I also just wanted to give you folks just sort of a technical background of how this whole process comes to be, and I'm sure a lot of you know that during COVID, everyone is making virtual choir videos. Jimmy Fallon, I think, is the best example of the Tonight Show, the best versions of these sort of grid videos with members of his band and celebrities singing songs that we've heard before. Everyone has their own square. And it's a very complicated process, especially because everyone has to record their own parts separately, and then it has to be put together so it sounds as if everyone's doing it at the same time. With Shira Me, these folks were fantastic. They met us every Tuesday night, as the cantor said, on Zoom. And the cantor and I put together what we call guide videos, which is where you have the piano accompaniment pre-recorded, you have the music scrolling in front of you, and then you have one of us, either the cantor or me, singing either the female part or the male part, so that whatever part member of the choir is, they can sing along specifically with that voice type. Following the music, I even added myself conducting on top of that as well. So we tried to make it as sort of integrated a process as possible, even though everyone is in their own bubble, obviously, working on the song. So we were able to coach them one-on-one in Zoom. We couldn't hear each voice, we couldn't hear all the voices together, but that's okay. I think you'll hear from the end product that everyone did come together. There's a lot of technology involved in putting this together. Obviously, once the members of the choir record themselves, they usually use an iPhone to record, or actually, in this particular case, the cantor went to their homes and recorded many of the members herself. She has to email me the videos. I have to extract the audio, work with that separately, and then work with the video and everything else. It's a wonderful process. I'm grateful that it was able to happen, and I hope you enjoy Someone to Believe in.
That's very sweet, Cantor. Very Booberian, I'm just saying. I mean, Boober would love that. Boober would love that. I would talk to Frank about Boober. I don't know if he knows Boober, but
Next week.
next week, okay. We rise for the concluding section of our service. Elaine, it was on whatever the page is. I don't think there are page numbers, so it's the second to the last page.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Kaddish, of course, is meant to help us continue the conversation. For those we love are still speaking to us, helping us, guiding us on the road to life with their impassioned hearts, even though not here, helping us know how to live. So Merit Malloy's poem makes it loud and clear. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me best by letting hands touch hands and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. The love that remains, our gift, their legacy. We consecrate the Yortsites this Shabbat of Bessie Zuckerbrand, Leah Loria, Rita Singer, Eugene Wayne, Shirley Krotman, Howard Felgren, Andrew DeBall, Clarence Deutsch, Rose Gorfinkel, Tony Lieberman, Emmanuel Oscar Breen, Marie Gorman, Vernon Honstein, David Jennis, Jerome Samuels, Dot Roberts, Albert Mason, Philip Green, Elizabeth Levine, Mortimer Medrich, Margaret Greenwald, Celia Cohen, Marshall Rosenoff, Irving Glantz, Charles Hellman, Harold Mate, Hortense Gutman, Bob Baumgart, who was the vice president for life of Larchmont Temple, Eileen Center Schubert, John Halberstam, Kathleen Diardenne, Jack Lichter, Arnold Tamarin, Leslie Greenbaum, Julius Fern, Saul Hafetz, Raymond Toronto, and the founding president of Larchmont Temple in 1948, Pearl Belschetz. To those names, we link the memories of those who left us during Shloshim, the past 30 days or less, Murray Spanbach, father of Betsy, Steve Dietrich, husband of Bonnie Lieberman, father of Christian, Catherine, and Meredith, Ben Kaplan, son of Barbara and Seth of blessed memory, brother of Julia, nephew of Michael and Bonnie Rodney of blessed memory, nephew of Liz and Jack, cousin of Emily, Elizabeth, and Leo. Marianne Madoff, wife of Michael, mother of Dylan, and Michaela, sister-in-law of Lori Musapor, Ian Friedman, cousin of Louise Elton, Ron Glassberg, husband of Ina, father of Rhonda, father-in-law of Jeff, father of Mark, father-in-law of Emily, Sylvia Engelson, grandmother Mimi of Beth Metzendorf, and just this afternoon, Saul Bernard Cohen, past president of Queens College and president of the American Society of Geographers, husband of Miriam for 71 years today, father of Louise Cohen Kravitz, and Deborah, father-in-law of Donald and Oded, grandfather of Amir, Talia, and Noam, Emma, Annie, Jesse, and Sophie. Will anyone here add a name in sacred remembrance? The memories of all of them are with us as we share in words of Kaddish. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah be'alma divrach erutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'visman kari v'imru amen Yehei shmei rabbah mivorach le'olam olamei maya Yitbarach v'yishtabach pa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei d'kutsha barichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata dami ran be'alma v'imru amen Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim alenu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen Ose shalom bimromav, huyase shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru. Amen. Zichronam livracha. May their memories be our blessing. Amen. Do we have announcements? Is someone doing announcements? Oh, Martha's here.
Shabbat Shalom. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Martha Steinman on behalf of the Executive Committee of the Temple. I'm so happy to see all of you tonight, either in the sanctuary or online. So glad you could be here for such a special evening. Thank you to our clergy and our musicians for a beautiful, beautiful service. And wow, Shirami and Jonathan and Frank, what an amazing piece you put together. What a privilege to see it. Juliet, Mazel Tov to you. Congratulations. We're so excited that you're going to become the newest adult member of our congregation. We know you'll do an amazing job tomorrow, so Mazel Tov to you and your family. Maddie and Ayal, I didn't know about this till I got here tonight, but Mazel Tov to both of you. It's incredible with what we've been through in the pandemic to see something so joyful and light come out of all the darkness. So Mazel Tov to all of you. Okay. All the excitement at Larchmont Temple goes on. Tomorrow morning, we have Chevra at 9 and morning minyan at 10:30. And of course, Juliet's bat mitzvah. But then on Sunday, we really have the big event. And it's going to be sunny, right, Rabbi? You promise? Yes. Yes, it will be sunny in our minds or in our bodies. But we have our garden party at 4:30 in the garden. And it's going to be a wonderful welcome back to all of us to come home again to Larchmont Temple. So we're very excited about that. There will be an ice cream truck, which I'm personally very excited about. And we also will have our annual congregational meeting and be sharing some of the exciting plans for the High Holy Days, which are especially early this year. So come on Sunday afternoon and have some ice cream and hear about that. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
And just the garden party, just to know, the garden party, though it's going to be really cool and it's going to be an update on the High Holy Days and yada, 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 we're celebrating Linda Price, who is the voice of Larchmont Temple. You call, right? Past president of the congregation. By the way, it's so nice to have the Block family here and the Protestant family here. We don't usually let past presidents who leave the area come back, but Fred Block is an exception to the rule. And wonderful to see Deb and the entire Robkin family as well. Linda Price, 27 years dedicated service to Larchmont Temple, the wonderful Scottish woman who fixes everything and makes everything, even if it's horrendous, she makes it sound better because of her accent. And so, no, it's truly her grace and kindness. 27 years, she's just retired, and we're going to celebrate her in the garden. That's the real purpose of the garden party and the annual meeting. It's not to do too much congregational business. That's like left. We have 12 minutes to do that and an hour and a half to celebrate Linda. And there will be an ice cream truck in the garden. Say it again? You want to have do you play the bagpipes, Andy? I didn't know. Okay.
As we rise together for our closing song, acknowledging Frank's words, acknowledging our capacity to love, to make our world a better place, we join together.
Olam chesed yibane, yadadai, yadadai, yadadai. 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 I will build this world from love. Ta-da-dai, dai-dai, ya-da-dai-dai. And you must build this world from love. Ta-da-dai, dai-dai, ya-da-dai-dai. And if we build this world from love, ta-da-dai, dai-dai, ya-da-dai-dai, then God will build this world from love. Ta-da-dai, dai-dai, ya-da-dai-dai.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.